Hi everyone, I am back with the Spectrum Noir hair coloring video, part 2, basically, because my camera battery didn't last for the whole first one. It lasted for the first one, but I didn't get to show you the second part of the coloring with the brush nibs on the markers. So that's what this video is about. I'm using the same exact colors as I did on the previous one. So I've got my EB4, EB3, and TN3 markers right here ready to go. And all I've done is basically, I took my chisel nib off and I replaced it with some brush nibs. So coloring with a brush nib versus the bullet nib are slightly different. Now keep in mind that these markers they're still pretty new to me, and I'm still getting the hang of, coloring with them. So using the brush nib is still new to me, but I wanted to show you guys that you can switch them out, and if you're more comfortable with a brush, what it may look like. And like I've said before, I'm not an expert. I just really like coloring and I enjoy it. So just, kind of want to share some of this with you guys. So same colors, and I'm going to go ahead and just uncap my lids, my caps real lightly and set those there. So we'll get our zooming in going here. Whoops, whoa, now, okay, there we go. So here I have my second image, and I'm gonna start the same way I did with the other one, where I'm going to, I'm gonna start with my darker color, which is my EB4. And here's what the brush looks like. So bear with me on this one. It may take a little more time than the other one. I really know how to use the bullet tips, and the brush nibs I'm still getting used to. So same thing though, we're gonna go ahead and go in and start our flicking, kind of feathering thing at the scalp of her head here. So as you can see with the ink all over me again. With the brush nib, you get more of a little feathered look. So if that's something that you want, you can certainly get that by just changing over to the brush. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come up the same way as I did before, but you'll notice that you do get more of a little feathered kind of flick. Just like that. So then I can come down, and if you're more comfortable turning her head to where you can always do the flicking upward, you just sit and turn your image as you're coloring. I'm okay with going either way. So it just depends on what you're comfortable with. I got a little bit over on her face there, but that's okay. This is kind of a practice just to show you guys. So just keep flicking, and then we'll do the side over here. I can't say that I like one tip more than the other, because I do like the way that they both look. So it's just kind of, what you like. I do not plan on switching all of my chisel nibs to brush nibs at this time. Basically maybe just for the hair colors for now. So we're going to go in with our EB3 now, which is our medium color. Is it going to focus on that? There we go. And we're just going to go over it like we did in the previous one. I'm really trying to stay in frame here for you guys. So I am going to turn this so I can do my little flicking here and come out. So there we go. I'm gonna flip it around and do this side. Okay. Now we're just gonna go back over all of this darker. And we'll come up here, give her her little highlighted area. And we're just going to go back over all the dark that's down here. And this one you just use the tip of it lightly to go over the dark. You still want to leave some of that space for your lighter color. So we'll go ahead and do this side, and then I'll go back up to her bangs in a minute. All of my coloring is never done in the same way. Like sometimes I do pretty consistent, you know, doing like this side, that side. Just kind of depends. Go over some of this dark. My dog might start barking in a minute, I don't know. Something's got her attention. So then we'll come back and do her bangs here. Oh, geez. Okay, so we're almost done with our medium color. I'm being really careless with her face right now. So we're gonna go ahead and cap that because we are done with that color. And we're gonna move on to our TN3. And just like before, we are going to just pull the darker colors in towards that highlighted area that we want. And we'll pull this way. So we grab all of this and it's going to lighten up along the way. And the same thing, you can do your little circles here to kind of blend that better. But with the brush, you get more of the little feathered look that kind of stays. So we'll just go down gently with the tip here, because it's the smaller area. And just kind of blend that center right there. The more time you spend going over these darker colors, the more you're going to lighten them up and pull them out. So you want to be careful not to spend too much time inside those darker colors because you don't want to wash them away with your lighter color. Definitely going to have to clean some of this hair up with my blender. I was going to do that in the last one, but my battery showed that it was going to die, so. Okay, now we're going to move on to this side, and the same thing. I'm just going to turn this a little bit so I can see a little better. I'm just going to pull all this dark and medium color out. And turning your paper is really recommended. I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but it just helps you go along with the image and the way that her hair is. So didn't really have to do a lot of circle coloring right here on this side, so that's good. And then we'll go down. Trying to stay in the camera. It's kind of awkward when you zoom in, because you're not really zoomed in, you know, with your eyes while you're looking, but then you look over in the little view thing of the camera and it's super close. It's kind of awkward. Messes with your eyes. Okay, so just taking that tip and blending those colors right in the middle. Man, I am going outside the... See, I'm still trying to get used to these brushes. So when you've got little tiny areas of hair like this, you just want to use the tip. And I got a little carried away there, so you can see it's kind of a mess. But we can clean that up. So we'll blend her bangs. So as you can see, coloring with these alcohol markers like this is a little time consuming, but to me it's worth it when you see the outcome. So you spend just a little more time blending colors together, and the end result is just too cute. And these little CC Design girls are just adorable. So come up from the bottom, and you can kind of see these colors blending together. So with certain colors, not all of them, you can actually watch the blending as it happens. It's kind of cool. So I come back over here. Get this side done. Kind of got some on her face, so. So there we have that. We're going to just lightly cap the TN3. We're going to go back to our EB4 and do our little highlights. Now this is where I'm kind of not used to doing this part yet, just because the brush is so different from the bullet. So I'm going to turn her hair, well, I'm going to turn my image so I can try to get my little flicks. Now this is going to give you kind of a thinner line when you're trying to do the little highlights in her hair. So it's definitely going to look a lot different than the first one. And you don't have to put as many. I just never know how many to put. I keep going until, you know, I like what I see. So then I'm going to turn it and go ahead and do this side. And just keep turning to get her hair. And I'm trying to go as light as possible with this brush nib, because you can kind of make a mess. If you push too hard, it's gonna leave a really dark kind of blobby line. That's not the look that I want to go for. Okay, so then we'll do some little pieces in her bangs here. Just kind of flicking. Okay, so we're going to cap that. Go back in with our TN3 one more time. And we're just going to kind of lighten this up. And there's going to be a difference between this one and the previous one. This one is definitely going to look a little darker. And then coloring is the same as any handmade objects. You are hand coloring this. So every one of your skin tones and hair colors and clothing and such is not going to turn out the exact same. So if you're going to try to duplicate something, they will not always look identical. There's going to be a slight difference in all of it because of the pressure of your coloring. So this one and the nibs are so different that plays a big role in how your color is being placed. So you can see the difference. This little brunette is slightly darker than the one before. So that's it. That's all you want to do with the hair. Whoops, as I'm throwing markers around. I'm going to go ahead and grab my blender pen. And I'm going to show you guys how I kind of fix the mistakes that I've made. So I've got some color right down here. So all I'm going to do is just try to push that back into her hair. Just a little bit at a time here. And try not to make a bigger mess. I'm going towards her hair. Not really trying to, you know, like erase it. I wouldn't sit here and do that. But if you push it back towards her hair, it'll give it a little bit of cleanup there. So just like that. And I've got a little spot down here that I got with a darker one. So the same thing, I'm just going to push that into her hair. We'll give that a second. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Sometimes you can, and sometimes it doesn't work that well. Some of the darker colors can take a little bit longer to kind of clean up. Now, if you were going to cut this image out, the way that I do when I'm putting my little girls on props, you wouldn't even have to worry about trying to fix any of this. So all you do is just cut real close with your scissors, and you don't have to worry about it because it's going to cut it right off. So this darker color is, it's kind of going in, but you know, you can still kind of see that it's a little smeared. But that's generally how you fix color, is you just take the color and kind of push it right back into where it's supposed to be. So there's a little bit right here that might go in a little better because it's such a smaller spot. So you just kind of push it back into your image. A little spot right here. So those spots worked a little bit better. This kind of turned out to be a mess because the color is so dark. So I'm not really sure if it's going to go back in, but I'm probably going to end up cutting her out anyway. So for me, it's okay. And that just kind of goes along like being really careful depending on what you're going to do with your image. So I'm going to zoom out to show you guys the difference. So this side is the bullet nib and this side is the brush. So you can see the difference in the hair color even though I used the same 3 markers. You can just see it because the tips were different to work with, so you could kind of see that. And then on the back, you can see that this one is a little more saturated with the brush nib than this one. But that's okay, you know, as long as it's not really bleeding through onto something. That's why you always want to have some kind of scrap paper or mat underneath you when you're coloring. So the more you go over a color, the more it's going to bleed into the back. And this is the Spectrum Noir paper. So, you know, I want to say that the brush nib blended a little better than the bullet nib did. So you can see the different sections here, but you can't see them as well on this side. So that is going to conclude the hair coloring video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!